It's the Elsa Kurt Show with Clay Novak. Serving up trending news and conservative views. Brought to you by the Elsa Kurt Collection. And Refuge Medical. And now, it's time for the show.
Oh my goodness, the things that I put Clay through just to get on this program, just to do the thing. So Clay shows up, he's all prepared, he's ready to go, he's ready to rock and roll. And I come in like a hurricane, acting like I've been through the war. No excuses. How are you, Clay?
I'm good. Just sort of, there was a minor technical difficulty with Elsa's earphones, and she couldn't hear me, and she felt like it was her fault, and technical things happened, but we're all good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am good. I leave. So I go on Friday to go see my grandbabies. So I am, basically out of my head with excitement right now. And I just can't wait to get there and squeeze those babies. So so I am good doing the countdown. You have got a lot of stuff going on. You are the book tour man right now, right?
Yeah. I second book, Cross the Bear. Here we go. Got a copy of it right here. Right.
That looks so good. So good. Keep
moving, keep shooting. So Cross the Bear came out in September, and we just announced that the third book, Rebellis, is coming out on Veterans Day, 11th of November. And so, we're in final stages right now. I just, I did a bunch of stuff today. I wrote the back cover description and some other pieces and parts that go inside the book, and the cover's being designed. And so we're in all of the final stages of book 3. Yeah. And then, of course, with that, you have to do all the publicity and everything else. So I'm doing other podcast, appearances, and oh, by the way, I'm writing book 4 at the same time. So yes, I am busy. I'm happy busy.
Oh my goodness. So we have to harken back to the old days, the origin story, and I have to interview you about your book series. Would that be fun?
At any time you're ready.
Right? Let's do it.
I've been banging them out, so I can do that when I get the problem.
I know. And I personally, I love hearing the stories of how other authors, especially when it's series, like their whole process and everything. Cause I love that chat. I love that conversation. So yeah, I think we're going to do that. We'll sidebar on that afterwards and talk about that'll be really fun. But for today, we've got Clay pulled up like 7 topics for us again. I think you like putting the pressure on, like, can we do it? But we're talking big stuff, right? We've got, let's see.
I think 7 is the sweet spot.
It is.
We've done as many as 9, I think, but I think 7 is the comfortable amount. But busy week. We're kicking it off. We got, I guess we got one fun one at the end, but there's a lot going on, folks. It's the way of the world.
Government shutdown. Israel on edge. A college professor calling himself Dr. Antifa. Chicago spiraling, while Portland pretends it's fine. Drivers getting high, not just behind the wheel, but behind the laws. Virginia's AG race heating up, and the NFL's latest halftime pick has America asking, is this football or politics? We've got it all.
For sure. All right, let's see. What do we have? Oh, well, let's start right off the bat with the government shutdown status update on all of that. So Clay was a little bummed out. Why were you a little bummed out, Clay?
I was wrong. I said last week, if you guys remember, okay, so it's our normal recording time, Wednesday, 4:30 on the East Coast. And I said last week when we recorded that I thought that the government shutdown would be resolved by last Friday at the latest before the weekend. And it is a week later, still going on. So my prediction was off. I did not realize that, truthfully, that the Dems would be so hard line on this, and they're finding every excuse in the book to continue the shutdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I did my best to make Clay feel better about that, because I said, Clay, you are so rarely wrong. You gotta have, it's gotta bring you down a little. It's gotta humble you. He's a very humble guy. He's not a braggart, but he is. I mean, let's face it, Clay, you have been right on so many things. I wish I had that skill set and time to go through all of our things and just do the running tally of all the things that you called and were spot on. So you get a pass. You get a pass on this one.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah.
But The government shutdown continues. I think there has been since, in the last week, I think there's been a total of 6 votes, I think is what I counted up. I may be plus or minus 1 there, but I think it's 6 votes that have been denied. I think there was another one today. I think there was an additional Democrat that jumped over, which is still not enough. But now, folks, we're starting to see some of the impacts of the shutdown itself.
Right. 750,000 federal employees are furloughed or forced to work without pay, which is
correct.
Just
and
the stress.
One of those, significant is the air traffic controllers. And so there is to compound things, because they know that their first partial paycheck is the 14th. And if it goes beyond that, then they will have a no pay due paycheck period on the 28th. And that's what they're anticipating. You've seen, or there has been, and I think 6 cities, six airports, 4 major airports to include O'Hare, LAX, Nashville, and I can't remember the 4th one. But there's starting to be a what you would refer to, and I know you're familiar with this as a cop's wife, a blue flu going on in some of these airports with the air traffic controllers.
Yeah. I mean, what do you even say to this? Like, you can't expect people to work like this under these conditions and just to keep showing up with no guarantee of it. They have mortgages, they have bills, they have children, they groceries. I mean, you just simply cannot do this, so that they are being held ransom essentially, is just insane to me. And basically all because they can't, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding something here, but all basically because they can't get their BS added into this package, basically. So, the Republicans are trying to put forward one of the cleanest bills that you can. I think how many pages was it's the least amount of pages probably in anything that's come through in years and years and years. Very straightforward.
We talked about this last week. They're asking for essentially an extension, no change to spending, no change to anything. Give us 6 weeks, give us an extension, keep the government open, keep paying people. We'll figure it out by the middle of November, right? That is, we're not taking anything away. We're not adding anything. They just want the 6-week extension, and they can't get enough Democrats to break away from Schumer to vote yes, just to keep the government open. They're hardlining on, the healthcare for illegal aliens. They're hardlining on these,
and denying that. It's not. It's not for illegal aliens. I know what you're talking about. You're making that up. No, actually, not making that up. That's literally what you're doing. Oh, I mean, so
now you've got the military as well. And so the air traffic controllers, there's a little bit of the blue flu. Like I said, you've got, a handful of airports where many of them, enough of them are not showing up for work and calling in sick because they're not getting paid. So now you've got staffing manning issues, right? And now you've got delays and you've got flight cancellations and all those other things. And they've got the ability to do that. The military does not. And I only went through really one of these. There was one very, very early in my career, which truthfully didn't last long enough to affect a paycheck. But it happened right after I came on active duty in 1995. And then there was a second one just a few years ago before I retired, that under President Obama that lasted, I think it was 17 days or something like that. It lasted enough for affect a half month's paycheck, which we got back. But
speaking
you could see the impact on the young soldiers with families. It's not the senior folks. They're okay. Everybody's going to be okay. But the young families, the E2 through E4, young folks in an apartment with 2 or 3 kids that spouses wants to work, can't work because if she's working, she's trying to pay for childcare, or it's that crux. I mean, we've got tons and tons of service members who are already on food stamps and now they're not getting paid. And oh, by the way, they don't get to call in sick, folks. That's not a thing. They got to go to work.
Yeah. It's not even an option. I read somewhere that the White House stance is on refusing automatic back pay for federal workers. What is up with that? Is that a thing? Is that being misrepresented? Have you heard anything about that?
I have not heard. I don't know. I do know that the military, because they don't have the option of going on, of being furloughed, they do get back pay. I know that key and essential personnel is what they're referred to as. So like air traffic controllers, they don't have an option. If they don't go to work, if they call off sick, then that's treated as any other PTO, sick day, whatever. And they get paid whether or not, depending on what they have in the bank for those, time off statuses. Everybody else, if you're furloughed, I honestly don't know, especially if you're not designated as key and essential personnel, whether or not you're getting paid. My guess is in many cases you're not.
Right. Wow. Listen, yeah, I just told you I'm going to Florida on Friday, and nothing is. If I have to fly that plane,
Are you?
none of y'all want that.
Orlando is the other one. Are you flying to Orlando?
I am. I'll be messing with my flight.
That is one of the four that I think is on the higher end, or the concerning number of delays and flight cancellations. I think it's O'Hare, LAX, Orlando, and I want to say it's kind of an odd one. I know Nashville's in there, but it's kind of low. But Oklahoma City, maybe somebody like that.
Yeah. They better straighten this out right quick, because it's all about me.
I get it.
I
get it.
It's all about those grandbabies, and anybody with grandchildren understands it. Everybody else maybe does not understand.
What's a little astonishing is that while I was watching that last night, they were at airports, and they were, talking to people who'd either had a delay or had a flight cancellation or were there to pick somebody else up or whatever. I saw probably maybe 5 or 6 faces, different people being interviewed, and there were 2. There was a man and a woman separately interviewed, not together, who didn't even know there was a government shutdown. They had no idea why there was a cancellation. They had no idea why.
Wow.
One was there trying to fly out. Their flight got canceled. And then another person was there to pick someone up, and that flight had been delayed, and they interviewed both of them. Neither one of them had any idea there was a government shutdown going on. I was
interesting.
Like, wow.
Very interesting. Well, I think there is, and I'll pull that word out of the drawer again. There is that level of fatigue that everybody feels with all of it, with the politics, with the, culture wars, with all of the things. And I think there probably is a very reasonable, meaning size-wise, portion of the population that is just saying, you know what? I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. Don't talk to me about it. I'm not going to watch the news. I'm not going to watch any of it. I'm just going to live my life. And, I don't really knock them for it, because they probably are living a much more peaceful existence than the rest of us. So, I don't really knock them. And I know there's certainly an argument for knowing what's happening in the world around you, especially if you're at the airport expecting to go somewhere and you're like, what's happening? You might want to tune in just a tiny bit. I know what they can do, Clay. They can just watch our show and kind of get just get enough. It's like 1 hour. You can speed, right? Yeah. It's a 1 hour show. You probably have an option. You ever notice this? You have an option now. You can speed things up. You can speed up books.
Yes.
I'm sure you can speed up the videos too. You can get this all in a half hour, probably. Why not? Right. Just a suggestion, just a thought, an idea. And look, we're so much more pleasant about it and cheerful about it than, the
estimate right now is 24 days.
Yeah.
I saw that just before
24 days.
I saw the guesses. I don't know why. The estimate is this is going to last 24 days. And I don't know what the significance of 24 days is.
Yeah.
But that's the guess right now. I will tell you that this one will be long remembered. It will be long remembered when it comes around election time for the very few elections that are going on here in November, but definitely next year, 2026. Right. Both sides will bring this up and point fingers at each other. So take notes, people. Remember who's responsible, because, as Speaker of the House Johnson brought up just the other day, he said, hey, Chuck Schumer's been in office since I was 9.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He's like,
9.
We've got career politicians here that are part of the problem.
Yeah.
And he said, Chuck Schumer's been in office since I was 9 years old. So don't look at me, look at him. So
yeah.
And I think.
What do you think will take the bigger hit on this, Republicans or Democrats? I mean, my opinion is Democrats.
Democrats will. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
I mean, I guess if you're a Democrat bystander, you probably will blame Republicans no matter what. But if anybody's being objective and really looking at the totality of the entire thing, I think it's probably pretty clear for anybody paying attention. But We shall see. We'll see the spin. I'm sure the spin is happening, and I was a bad girl. I haven't even really watched what they.
There's scarecrow. Fingers going both ways. Everybody's pointing the opposite direction at the other side.
Right.
And they're blaming all of this. Everybody is getting blamed. President Trump's fault, and they're trying to blame all kinds of things on the government shutdown that have nothing to do with the government shutdown. It's ridiculous, but yeah, it'll all come out in the wash, and it'll impact folks. Hopefully, it won't be forgotten before the next election.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see, what do we got next? Oh, driving while high. Listen, can I go on a rant?
Go.
I am so sick and tired of walking down the street, walking into a restaurant, business, driving on the bleeping highway and having waves of that nasty, disgusting skunk smell invade my personal space. Listen, that's what you want to do. Knock yourself out. Put yourself into a, catatonic state for all I care. I don't need to smell it. And here's, and I know, and all the people are going to pipe in, they'll be like, it's medicinal, and there's nothing bad about it. It's not I don't care. I don't care. Don't make it my problem. I was fine back when I was in high school. No problem then. Good times, whatever. I'm a grown ass adult. I do not need to walk into every lane and aspect of public life and have that smell invade my nostrils. Chew a gummy, eat a brownie, take a lollipop. I don't care how you do it, but I don't understand for the life of me why they have to smoke it so that we can all smell it on them. It's making my throat close up. I'm so repulsed by that. I
actually did it last night. I went to go see there's a very famous former radio personality in Chicago. His name was Kevin Matthews. I grew up listening to him in high school radio. But he is, he went through the gambit of the 90s, right? A lot of, he partied, he had a good, all of those things. And now he's found God. It's called Broken Mary. I recommend folks go see it. It's it's in limited theaters. It's a great story. But the film itself is about an hour long, but then actually you can stay afterwards and pray the rosary if you're a Catholic with Kevin Matthews on the screen. Very cool kind of thing. The story's great, regardless. As I'm walking into the movie theater last night, just as soon as I got out of my car, all the way to the door of the theater, hot smell everywhere. And it was, it's not like I don't know what I'm smelling,
Exactly.
So,
listen, and we'll get into the real meat of this topic, what the headline is there, but it's just another way to usher in societal decay. I get the whole medicinal aspect of it, but Joe Schmo driving down the highway, which is, we're getting to this part of this now, and walking into a restaurant, any business, whatever the case is, come on now. They're not using it medicinally. They're not using it for their cataracts or their cancer or their migraines or whatever, or their backache. Everything now needs marijuana to make them feel better, right? Highly coincidental that everybody suddenly needs it to, so give me a break with all of that. And now let's talk about this very serious, legitimate, I just mentioned it 3 times, driving down the highway, and I'm not exaggerating. And my windows aren't even open. I have to shut my vent off from that smell coming out of the car in front of me or beside me. This is driving while impaired. And I don't care if you think you are more brilliant or creative or any of this nonsense. When you're high, you are a danger. And this was not well thought out. I don't think it was thought out at all, right? I mean, how they have no way of addressing this in the way that you can for drunk driving. There's no breathalyzer test,
Correct.
Right? It's more involved.
Yes. So they did a study. This is based on, I think it's out of Ohio. Mm-hmm. They took 6 years worth of data. So this is not just a smattering, just a small piece, 6 years worth of data. And what they've seen is an increase, 40%, I think it's 42% actually, of fatalities, auto fatalities have been caused by or at least the people that have been tested in the fatality, have had a toxic level of THC in their bloodstream. In other words, not a, because we all know it's not, it's not a joke. It's not a lie. The stuff stays in your system for 30 days at a minimum, depending on how strong it is. Now, this is toxic levels in the sense of immediate or use immediately before or even during operation of the vehicle. So like the levels were that high in the bloodstream that they could tell that the person was impaired post-mortem, literally post-mortem.
Wow.
So, the evidence is there, and the concern, is exactly what you said, which is there is no breathalyzer test, right? There's no, it's not like, when you get pulled over, cops smell alcohol. They can smell pot, but they can't, there's no test for you immediately other than a field sobriety type test, right?
Right.
And, THC, marijuana affects you differently than alcohol does. So the tests aren't necessarily the same, or are they reliable? But what there isn't is a breathalyzer test on the spot to check your blood alcohol content in a similar fashion for marijuana. So, that's where the crux is. People think, well, I can smoke there, even if I smoke in my house, very much like, an alcohol, drink before you drive, smoke before you drive, but then there's no trace of it. Right. And because there's no breathalyzer for it, people figure they get pulled over, they're not going to get caught. Well, the problem is that they are impaired, like you said. And the number of auto-related fatalities while impaired on THC/marijuana is skyrocketing, and it's in a direct relationship with the legalization of marijuana, the availability of marijuana to the general public, and people are, of course, as people do, abusing it, and that's where we sit right now.
Right. Yes, because, my husband said this many years ago, and we've repeated it and unfortunately I've had reason to repeat this in so many different circumstances, that, the problem in the world is people, because people ruin everything. Yeah. Everything. And this is another example of that, and, for probably the third time, I'll say, I understand the value of, in certain circumstances, the benefits that they have shown with the use of marijuana for legitimate medical reasons. So we're not talking about that. We're talking quite literally about impaired driving, operating of machinery, like all of these things, putting the public at risk, for simple recreational use. And that's, again, it just, anybody who paying attention, anybody with half a brain, quite honestly, saw this coming a mile down the road, that this is exactly where this would lead to. And, it's just another, and I blame, you betcha I'm going to blame those Democrats again. And I'm sure there were plenty, I'll be fair and say, I'm sure there's plenty of Republicans too that, crossed that line and green lighted that, because, money speaks louder than anything else. Right. And they saw some dollar signs and they said, hey, well, we can make some money off this. People are doing it anyway. Let's make some money off it for our states and blah, 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 blah. And, don't worry about that pesky cultural societal decline and the, further dumbing down of society and, making them numb and incapable of making, sound decisions and choices in life and motivation to succeed and do anything. Like, listen, I'm not saying all marijuana users are derelicts and can't function in society. There's a frightening number that can and do. That's more frightening to me, and you don't know unless you smell it on them. You don't know if your doctor is high while operating on you. You don't know if your Uber driver is high driving you anywhere. Like, when you apply it to all these situations where your safety and well-being, or let's go even more important, your children's safety and well-being are unknowingly at risk. And I guess we have to go into like, okay, we're talking about the problem so much, and now we got to talk about, well, what can you do? What are the solutions? Can you, now that the horse is out of the stable, what are the odds of this getting reversed? What do you think could even possibly happen from this point, Clay?
Yeah, I think it's really, really difficult. I think what it will take is a major, because everything else requires a lobby. It's going to take a major lobby or a major donor to be opposed to this to have any impact. And I say that in the sense of, businesses as an example. So think of a business that operates a fleet of vehicles. Okay. So they, I worked for a brief period of time, a few years after I retired, for a corporation that had that. We had a fleet of vehicles, we had licensed operators. And so I watched while I worked there as these laws were passed to legalize. We would, when I first started working there, we would test people, right? There was always a drug test, right? And then there was random tests afterwards. And then it got to the point where it was like, well, it was legalized. So even if we tested them, we couldn't fire them because it stays in your bloodstream for so long. A guy could be like, well, I smoked on Saturday and I'm here, on Tuesday taking a urinalysis and I'm perfectly fine. Right. So now you're putting businesses at risk. Or businesses are being put at risk by these laws. Now, I think the simple solution is, don't flip it back over and don't legalize it. But the tax dollars associated with it already are going to stop that from happening. No state level government is ever going to oh yeah, we're just going to stop collecting taxes on that. That's never happening. Right. Now, keep in mind, the federal government still has not legalized marijuana. Federally, it is still, now it's been in consideration. I know it's been talked to, President Trump has been talked to about this, about changing the classification of marijuana as a drug, but only at the state level is it legal, and it's from state to state, which again, states' rights. These are the things that we like as conservatives. However, in this case, I think this one is a little bit risky. Look, folks, I'm not even criticizing people who do it recreationally. If you want to do it, and it's legal where you're at, you're a grown adult, I got it. Yeah. The shocking thing is after all the years and years and years and years of DUI, drunk driving, all the things that we went through as teenagers, right? Mad, mothers against drunk driving, students against drunk driving. We had all of this impact on our lives where we just got beat over the head with, designated driver has, and I think it became very, very normalized to see this and to see it on the rise to an extent of 42% in these studies of people impaired by THC marijuana causing fatal crashes is crazy to me. Like, how did we lose the bubble on being responsible operators of motor vehicles? And what it tells me is that the breathalyzer is the deterrent. Right. It's not people of good conscience. It's not people doing the right thing. It's people making sure they can't get caught. Right. So when you can't get caught with the marijuana, then people just do it and they just say the hell with it. So I think we've got it's an ethical problem, moral ethical problem. And I think you're right. I think the decay and the status of where we at is going to make it almost impossible to flip this back over and turn it back the way that it should be. So the only answer is, we got to go old school. And I think to stop it is to ban it completely. That's the only way you're going to stop the auto fatalities. But unless they can come up with, a test, obviously, along the lines of the breathalyzer test, some version of that, something that's non-invasive. Because right now, I think it's only like a blood test, right? Or urine or blood test, right? Yeah. But again, it takes a while for that test to go, right? And then come back. I mean, it's the same thing. We still do blood alcohol content. They can draw blood. Right. Police departments can do that as opposed to a breathalyzer, but there's nothing on the spot. There's nothing on the roadside. There's no there's nothing like that available. And that is where the problem lies. So until I feel like this is an obvious question, but like the field sobriety test, like they obviously would be doing that type of testing. But again, it's like, prove it. I could just walk slow because I talk slow just because I talk slow. My eyes are red because I'm wearing contacts and my eyes are tired. I maybe never use that excuse. Visine. It's all of it. I don't know. The whole thing is just so predictable. And because it's so predictable, it is that much more frustrating and annoying and slightly infuriating when you think about, not slightly, very infuriating when you think about the fatalities and all of that stuff. It's like, come on, you greedy idiots. I mean, like that's all it comes down to. Greedy
idiots who just have no regard. And I'm talking about the lawmakers when I say that.
Yeah.
And, first and foremost, because as we know, people are people. If you tell them they can, drink them, so you're free to drink yourself into a stupor. You are free to smoke until your lungs turn black and turn into dust. You're free to smoke pot until you can't see straight. People will do it just because they can.
Yep.
All right. That makes me exhausted. Let's move on to the next one. I'm so aggravated. So aggravated. Oh, what are we talking about? Oh, the Virginia Attorney General. So what the heck, Clay? Come on. This is just crazy. This what's his name? Jay Jones. Are you even kidding me right now? I mean, and I say that, and I don't even really mean that. I'm not surprised. None of this is surprising to me whatsoever. This guy, I thought I had the quote in front of me, but he said some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, basically,
it's for the political violence that we've been talking about. He's been advocating or has said in a number of social media posts, whether it's tweets on X or whatever, about shooting Republicans, about, what was it? Who was it? Pol Pot and somebody else. And it was basically like, I would rather kill an American Republican than two of the worst human beings on the planet, kind of thing. And so this guy is the running for the attorney general for the state of Virginia. So it hits social media. We all expect the, hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to back out. This is not appropriate behavior, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Guy doubles down. And oh, by the way, is getting tons and tons of support at the national level from national level congressional leaders, House Representatives, senators, etc. The amazing thing is that Virginia is one of the states that has an election this year for governor.
Yeah.
So you've got the lieutenant governor, Earl Sears, who's awesome. Right? Yeah,
I love her.
Folks, if the name's not ringing a bell, I promise you know who she is. She's African-American. She's a former military officer. She's the lieutenant governor of Virginia. She's running for governor of Virginia, and she's the conservative candidate, and she's a badass. She's awesome. Well, she's running against a lady named Spanberger, who we all thought that when Jay Jones was like, I'm not getting out of the race, that guilt by association, that at least she would say, hey, man, you're killing us. Like, you're killing you. You're killing me. Like, if you stay in, neither of us are going to get elected. And no effect. He stayed in.
Yeah.
She's still in good shape in the gubernatorial election. Like, what is going on in the state of Virginia?
It's so crazy. Now, Winsome Earl Sears, she put out a pretty intense ad, and we do have it. I'm going to play it for you guys.
Rage fuel you.
A lot of people are saying it's the Democrats' rhetoric that has led to these attacks.
Charlie Kirk shot and killed while speaking at an event.
A bomb was found under a news van.
A sniper on a nearby rooftop firing indiscriminately at the ICE facility below.
Let your rage fuel you. Let your rage fuel you.
You label someone a fascist or a racist or a Nazi, it makes you free to attack them, and that has been the ideology from the start.
Every time we hear a new story, we let it fuel us.
A Chesterfield County School Board member who endorsed Abigail Spanberger said we used to be okay with shooting Nazis.
Turning Point USA made a stop at Virginia Tech in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Protesters gathered outside of the venue.
Let your rage fuel you. Folks, this is not hard. But she is reckless, and she is radical. Yeah. That's who she is.
Yeah, great ad. And boy, oh boy, folks, pay attention, man. Pay attention. This is what they are all about. This is what they represent and what they call for. They make no secret of it. Violence is the answer. If you are on the left, this is the message that they're sending. Violence is not just okay, it's good. And if this is, Virginia, pay attention, man. And this affects everybody. This has, this isn't just Virginia that this affects, much like, Mom Donnie doesn't just affect New York, if he gets in. This is, man, oh man, it's so crazy. But I do love.
I guess we should, with all the school board issues, Loudoun County and all that. Like this,
Right.
this shouldn't surprise us, but it continues to, right? What surprises me is the lack of reaction. It's not that they think like this. It's not even that they talk like this in public.
Right.
It is the lack of reaction from the public to say, that's not okay. You don't represent me. I don't want you in office.
Right.
The fact that these people continue to be competitive in these elections is baffling.
Yeah.
Just absolutely baffling. It shouldn't surprise me, but it continues to. And maybe that's my fault.
Yeah, I know, but I'm with you. And I think most of us are. It is so hard when you are a civilized human being to see the lack of civility. What a mild way to phrase that, right? To see the, blatant call for anarchy and violence and craziness, and for that to be the norm is just for them.
And think about this, folks. That is the potential governor saying, let your rage, right? Act on your rage.
Right.
With an attorney general who is endorsing, advocating, talking about violence, right?
Yeah. That they are not run out on their behinds is just.
But the two of them together, if they both get elected, the potential for excusable violence, political violence in the state of Virginia goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you've got a governor who advocates for it, and you've got an attorney general who's going to protect those that they choose to protect and prosecute or defend those that they choose to prosecute or defend. Right?
Yeah.
That, if there's even an offset, even if you've got an attorney general that gets elected who is an idiot and a governor who's not, or vice versa, then there's a balance. But if they both get elected, folks, Virginia I would drive around that state. I would avoid all travel, anything associated with Virginia. I wouldn't go anywhere near that joint.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So obviously we're going to keep watching that one. And whenever there's updates on it, we will update you, man. But I hope it's good news from there because oof. Listen, I skipped right over this one. I think it was out of because I kind of felt bad for you because Chicago again.
Yeah.
Surprise. Yeah, go ahead, Clay.
So the National Guard is here. The National Guard from Texas has landed. I hate to say this, there's some bad photo ops out there right now already. Texas getting off the trucks yesterday. There's some chubby, overweight folks that probably are not Secretary Hexet's, mob fighting force coming up from Texas. However, they are here. The intent for the National Guard to help ICE in Chicago specifically. By the way, over 1,000 arrests by ICE in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
In the city of Chicago. So the intent is for them to provide facility security, right? That's right now the role for the National Guard. They're on a 60-day mobilization, so they will come here. They're the ones that are going to, provide the security in and around the ICE facilities to facilitate and allow the ICE agents to do their jobs, right? Of course, you've got Governor Pritzker, Mayor of Chicago have both said, and we've got evidence of this, that they, Illinois and specifically Chicago police departments, law enforcement agencies are not allowed to support, protect, assist ICE federal law enforcement in any way, shape, or form. In fact, when there was a conflict last week, CPD tried to respond at the patrol level and were told to not. They were called off by their chain of command and told them, hey, ICE is doing their thing. And so you've got that, but you've also got the state suing the federal government about utilization of the National Guard. The same thing is going on in Portland, folks.
Right.
We talked about it last week. Their governor really had his crap together because they had a lawsuit, submitted in under 12 hours from notification. So they don't, as far as I know, I don't think there's National Guard in Portland at this point. They got ahead of the ball game, but there's a lawsuit there too. And again, ICE is under attack on a daily basis as they operate in and around Portland. I'm an advocate. We talked about this before that, none of us want to see an American city fall into complete disarray. I think Portland is primed for it. And I think that they continue to live under this, like they're happily effed up. Like they like it that way. And
Yeah.
I think truthfully, for the sake of everybody outside of Portland, I think pulling all federal government, all federal law enforcement, and all federal money out of Portland is a viable option, even to the point where I said this on social media and somebody said, so that means then they shouldn't pay federal taxes. I'm okay with that. Fine.
Yeah.
Give everybody who lives in Portland a buy. I don't care. It's not going to fix it. It doesn't matter. I think we should get everybody out and just let Portland, burn in whatever way that happens.
Yeah, let them have it. And can we ship more there? Can we ship them from other places? Like, can we just give them, I know it's not an island, guys, don't worry, but can we just call it the island of Portland and ship them all there? You can have your merry little island of misfits, island, non-island of misfits and degenerates and, go crazy, have fun. That's it. But you stay there. That's your own place. I personally love that idea. There's been this long-standing conversation since all of this has been going on. That why don't we just split up the states, right? We'll all the conservatives and Republicans, we can just take we'll take the southern states. Thank you. We like the sunshine, so we'll take that, right? The more tired, fatigued I get from all this, the more I'm like, oh, what a wonderful idea. And I know, so many people will jump in and be like, come on now, you can't, that's not the way to handle it, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it is, because we are so profoundly divided in what our values and ethics and beliefs and every single thing. We are so incredibly divided on that. Like, it almost feels like the best solution here. I don't know, somebody's gonna get mad that I said that, but and whatever.
It's all being clouded by social media. There's a lot of single shot snapshots of this happening, and then a story forms around it, true or untrue. There's a head pastor from a Chicago area Presbyterian church. There's a snapshot of him being pepper sprayed by some law enforcement agent. One, we don't know if it's AI. Two, we don't know the circumstance. Everybody assumes because he's clergy that he was peaceful, that he wasn't doing anything wrong, that he, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Assuming is bad. We all know the anecdote, right? But you can't convince people of that because of their own internal bias. And social media is doing this entire thing for both sides a disservice. But what's really the disservice is the fact that people can't look at those things and say, I don't know what's going on there. It looks bad, but I don't know what happened. So I'm going to wait and see, like we always talk about, right? Yes. Wait and see what happens. Right. People react in the craziest ways, and it's not helping.
No, it's really not. And, and it's such a good point, Clay, for all of us and myself, ourselves included, to take that step back, to take a deep breath and to say, this isn't everybody. This isn't representative of the majority. These are just the most vocal portions of each group of people. And, and those are the ones that make the most noise. It's the whole squeaky wheel thing that you hear about. Well, of course, that's going to get the most attention. Of course, these are the things that are getting the most attention. In huge portions across America, people are just living their lives and getting along and coexisting and having differences of opinions and beliefs and still, functioning without trying to hurt each other. So, that is the actual norm. That is the actual reality, and it's good to remember that. It's good to take that pause and go, hang on, let's go touch grass, right? It's actually been my favorite saying of late. And I know it's, it's one of the ones that's going to get overused and we'll get tired of it. Maybe people are already tired of it. I'm not. I am very fond of saying, go touch grass. Breathe air, touch grass. It's all okay. That was my reminder to myself, guys. You didn't need it. I needed it right then. Oh, what do I got? Oh, and now I got to bring us right back down again, guys. Right back down again. So a lot of talk going on right now. Of course, that Hamas is talking or listening to potential peace talks and all those things. The question always is, though, like, do they mean it? Because history has shown not so much.
Yeah, the the latest, I guess, is an offer from, negotiated by President Trump through, Bibi, and then forwarded to Hamas, waiting for their response about, it's a peace deal. It's contingent upon the release of, the Israeli hostages, the hostages from 2 years ago, literally 2 years ago, October 6/7, and it's in it. The ball is in Hamas's court right now, and the latest that I saw right before we went into recording is they basically said no, and so
there you go.
As hopeful as I think all of us were, this is not something that we should ever assume is going to be successful. Right. We all know peace in the Middle East is this very fleeting. We were very close to grasping it 4 years ago,
right.
To be beaten. But right now there is an offer on the table. Like I said, the last thing I heard was Hamas said no, and we'll have to see what happens. But the fact that we got Netanyahu to even agree to a deal, didn't involve bulldozing, Gaza Strip and starting over again,
right,
is promising. Because listen, folks, as much as I support Israel, and I clearly will never support a terrorist organization, specifically Hamas in this case, President Netanyahu's in a tough spot. I mean, when you live next door to your prime enemy who's trying to kill you on a daily basis, being gracious and being forgiving is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got him to agree to any deal whatsoever under any terms is pretty miraculous. And then of course Hamas turns around and takes this opportunity to say, and they're not going to do it. So we'll have to see what happens. But progress is being made. I am still hopeful for everybody in that region that they can at least stop killing each other for a while. Will there ever be pure peace? Probably not, but take a break from the killing for a little bit and eat some falafel and just everybody just chill for a little bit.
I love some falafel. Yeah. Come on, guys. I feel like food solves everything. Just saying. I mean, it really does. I mean, food solves so many problems in the world. So remember it's so unrelated, but it just made me think of it, guys. I'm sorry, but it just made me think of the old Snickers commercials with Betty White. Eat a Snickers. You're not you when you
yourself when you're hungry.
Yes, I love those. I just love it. It's so true. Everybody just have a falafel. I like that. That's going to be our thing.
Falafel.
Right? Yeah. All right, guys. Obviously, we're going to keep you updated. Next up, see, we're plowing through those last ones because we're getting close. Oh my gosh. So here. I know.
Did you know this guy before I gave you this topic?
No. I have thrown myself on the sword here so many times, and I'll do it again. I only pay attention to what I have to, like what I absolutely have to. So a lot of times, like an embarrassing a lot of times when Clay puts out subjects, I'm like, new to me. Let me go find out what's happening here. This was one of those. I was like, Dr. Antifa, what? And then, I had like a bunch of consecutive whats. The second one being that at Rutgers University, like, what? Why am I again? Here we are with the. Why am I surprised? Why would that have surprised me? And yet, it did. It did. So the latest is this guy is.
He is I can't remember the title, right? When you get to college, it's all the teachers' positions are titled, right? So it's a professor, an assistant professor, an associate professor,
I think that's
advising professor. I don't know. He's got one of those lower titles, right? And his name is Mark Bray, and he teaches a course on. I couldn't find the course title, but it is about terrorism. I think the concept of terrorism. Which in the scheme of things, I'll be honest with you, I have taken courses professionally about, studying terrorism in military education, in, personal curiosity classes. Like terrorism is a viable subject at any university, and it's not something we should shy away from. Right. So the fact that this guy was teaching a course about terrorism is not all that shocking. The fact that he has written 3 specific books on anti-fascism, specifically Antifa, including the Antifa Bible, came from this guy, right? So he is, and that's why they call him Dr. Antifa on Rutgers, the State College of New Jersey, as I call it. he's a professor on campus. He teaches a course there. He's written 3 books, very pro Antifa, and now is under. He's taken some death threats.
Mm-hmm.
He has taken some. He's been doxxed, I think, once or
Yes.
twice. And so the chapter of Turning Point USA at Rutgers University has come out with a petition, and they want him off of campus. They want the guy gone.
Right.
They're not asking to cancel the course. They're not asking for any of that stuff. They want this particular guy, because of his relationship with Antifa, gone.
Yep.
And so they've got a number of. Now, they have also come out and said, hey, listen, we do not endorse the death threats. We do not endorse the doxing or any of the rest of that stuff. We just want the guy gone.
Yeah.
And so they're pushing for that. But what does this guy do? He's like, I'm not living like this. I'm going to make the entire course is going to be online, and I'm moving my family to Europe.
Yeah. He ran away like the little chicken coward that he is, that they all actually are. They are all flat out cowards, pure cowards. They can't, they can't, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. So they time it again, over and over again.
How does Rutgers say this is okay?
Yeah. Listen, we're at the point, and we've been at this point for a while now, let's face it, that if you are, and I mean this as kindly as I can say it, if you are still sending your impressionable young humans to these universities, shame on you. Shame on you. You are putting this on all of us. This is what you are producing by sending and I know, calm down, everybody. I know it's not every student that goes into these universities and these colleges come out like this, but way too many of them are. And they are the ones causing all of the problems in our world right now. So
I've got kids in college, and I get back briefs from them, a couple of times a week, course content on, instructors that they have, anything a little crazy dicey, right? There's a big, depending on the college campus, some big response to Charlie Kirk, some not at all, but I'm always listening and paying attention to course content and, what's coming from the instructor themselves. So it's not every campus, folks. We're not saying that. And it's certainly not every student, because you can send great kids to college and they still come back great kids. But there are places and there are people who, this Dr. Antifa guy, this Mark Bray, is a prime example, right? He is a guy that I don't want my kids sitting in a classroom with for a semester. It's just back to life.
Goodness, no.
And they exist on college campuses everywhere.
Yeah. It's, at the very least, listen, I know you got to put your kids through college. I get it. They got to go if they want to do certain things. I get that, of course. But boy, oh boy, pay attention. Your kid starts acting any differently, and obviously you want them to mature and grow as human beings. That's a good difference. Pay attention, guys. Just pay attention and cut that off, man.
Be active, involved parents. And that's, this is a discussion that I've had is, listen, you're a grown up, you're an adult. I understand that, but I'm paying for this. So I get a vote, and active, involved parenting does not stop at the end of high school.
No.
If you're sending your kids to college, unless they're paying for it on their own, even if they're not paying, even if they are paying for it, they're still your kid.
They're still your kid. Yeah.
Be actively involved in what's going on in their lives. But these are the things that you've got to listen for and look for when you've got college age kids nowadays. It's just a fact of any college campus.
Yeah. It's such a shame. It's so absurd. It's so crazy. I'll say one more time, pay attention, parents. Also pay attention, folks, to the kind of music your kids are listening to, for heck's sake. Listen, I had a conversation with my daughter about this guy. I couldn't tell you anything that he sings. I don't know anything about him. I don't frankly care. I don't care about Super Bowl. I don't care about football. I don't care about the NFL. Don't care, because they knocked the care right out of me. They just bumped it right out of my system. But it's a thing that's happening, that's coming up. So why do we care? Well, Bad Bunny, he, I guess his music has a lot of anti-ICE, or his public, I don't know about his music, I shouldn't say that. I know his public stance is anti-ICE. His clothing choice, his persona, all of the things are a little eyebrow raising. Again, do you, boo, do you? I hate that phrase, but I said it anyway. I don't know. I mean, is it a big deal, Clay? What do you think?
There's never been a shortage of controversial Super Bowl performances. I mean, let's just, Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson. I mean, it starts there and it goes on.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I don't listen to modern music at all. I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. My assumption was it was a DJ.
Yeah, I would have thought that, sure.
Right. And so I had to ask the question like you did. And it was like, oh, well, it's modern dance music. Okay, fine. And then, you started to see the pictures and okay, listen, Bad Bunny dresses like a woman. He is a male, dresses in dresses often, which for the younger generation is less of a concern, right? Than most of the older generation, although we've talked about how the pendulum is swinging. But two things. One is Bad Bunny was on Saturday Night Live this past weekend, which is another show that I don't watch anymore because the content sucks.
Nope. People, I got to tell you, guys, stop asking me if I've seen Maya Rudolph, her imitation or impersonation of Kamala Harris. I have actually never seen it because I don't watch it. I don't watch the show. So stop asking me. Go ahead.
So Bad Bunny was on Saturday Night Live. He is of Puerto Rican descent, a native Spanish speaker. Most of his music, my understanding, is in Spanish, if not all. And he came out and said blatantly, "Hey, America, you have 4 months to learn Spanish if you want to listen to my halftime Super Bowl show, because it's not going to be in English." Now, you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Here's the question, though, and this goes back to Anheuser-Busch. This goes back to Cracker Barrel. This goes back to all of these other. What is the NFL thinking?
Yeah,
The
that's the
NFL
question.
audience, is the bulk of the NFL audience, even the casual NFL watcher, somebody who wants to listen to and or see Bad Bunny perform, also in Spanish, which we all know the vast majority of America, there are plenty of Americans that do speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
But many don't, and a lot of the NFL watching, audience doesn't speak Spanish. And for him to have this attitude of, well, that's a you problem, that's not a me problem, it's an NFL problem.
It's an NFL problem. And, listen, the NFL cannot get out of their own stupid way. I mean, they really can't. It's like a contest to see how many Americans they can put off. And, and of course the response is going to be, well, that's because they're racist. You're all racist and this and that, and no, it's because you are not reading the room at all of what your target audience is, as in the people who buy the tickets and fill the stadiums and buy the NFL package to watch all of that stuff. The ones who were super excited when did Guns N' Roses headline one time? I don't know why I just wanted to say Guns N' Roses, but I could be right. I could be wrong. I have an idea. But the majority of the demographic that is watching and more importantly, buying, purchasing is not the people that you are catering to. And I can tell you that with a pretty good dose of confidence. And what this really is because they are partnered, NFL and Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's company corporation. They are partnered. So Jay-Z and his ilk are basically influencing all of this. So if that's what y'all want, knock yourselves out. Everybody who enjoys that, you go ahead and enjoy it. But I can tell you right now, you are turning off more people than you are bringing in, and your numbers will show it.
Yep.
Simple as that. So
there's already discussions of alternate halftime shows by people like Rock and Jason Aldean and some others.
Yes.
They're going to go to another network. I'll bet you a dime on a dollar it's Fox. And,
brilliant, by the way. Brilliant.
Time out, time it to where it is an alternate halftime concert with, and that will be the metric, folks. I don't even know what network has this Super Bowl anymore.
No idea.
But they will see it. They will see the drop. They'll see the drop in viewership for the halftime show. Whether it's people just changing the channel specifically to watch an alternate concert or just to turn it off.
Right.
But they will feel it. We all know the money that is spent by advertisers during the Super Bowl. It's astronomically high.
Yes.
They are the ones who will, fix this for the future. But I think, we're down the road of, I don't think anybody's going to budge on this one. Oh, by the way, you remember when I said I thought it was going to be Taylor Swift who was going to be the halftime show?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The rumor is she was offered the halftime show, but she mandated 3 things. And I don't know if this is true, folks, but I've heard it on a couple of different spaces in a couple of different places. Enough to make me believe there's some truth behind it. She made 3 demands. One, that she got to do the set list, right? She got to pick the songs, no influence from the NFL on which song she was going to sing. 2, that she got total control over the show itself.
Wow.
And the NFL couldn't tell her yes or no about costume changes or fireworks or whatever. But the last one was that she demanded that President Trump not be allowed to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
and the NFL
I did hear that.
We can't do that. That's not even a thing.
Right.
Again, folks, I wasn't in discussion between Taylor Swift and the NFL. I have no idea if that's true, but there's enough traction on that out there where it at least is something to be considered. But anyway, that's how we ended up with Bad Bunny is the word on the street.
Very sad, very sad. And again, listen, I've never been a person to call for boycotts of anything really. I fully believe in letting everybody make their own choices and their own decisions. I'm just not into the whole we must boycott. I simply choose not to watch, and I think safe to say that I might be speaking for a whole bunch of people. I'm curious to see how many. I'd love to know, actually, guys, if you don't mind, let us know in the comments if you're going to be watching the NFL or the Super Bowl or not. And by the way, no judgment if you watch it. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you like Bad Bunny, enjoy the show. I'm sure it'll be exactly what you anticipate it to be. And that's great for you. Just simply not for me, not my thing, not my style. I don't really want to support anybody who is vocally anti-ICE and all of that, and anti-America, really. So they can suck it, as far as I'm concerned. Y'all do what you want to do. Hey, I want to end. I forgot to throw this in there when we were messaging before, but I just want to say, you mentioned a movie you saw, and I want to mention a movie I saw too, and I enjoyed it. I haven't been to the movie theater since the Elvis movie, the last Elvis movie that came out. So that was the last one I went to. And this one, my husband and daughter wanted to go see it. And I used to be a fan of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I'm not so much a fan anymore. But his new movie is out. It's called The Smashing Machine. It's the Mark Kerr story.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen the previews. Looks.
Oh my gosh. Very good. Very different. Very different. I mean, his acting, his performance, I'll talk about that in a second. But the movie style, the way that it was done, very different. If you are, I call them quiet movies because they're just stories. It's, there's no crashing cars and crazy things. There's, of course, fight scenes, that you watch in the ring and all that stuff, which are pretty dynamic and really good. But overall, it's just a story. And I love that. Now, Dwayne Johnson, listen, in his world, in his Hollywood world, I feel like that was a Academy Award performance. It was actually that good, in my opinion. So if you're going to see it, if you care, I would be curious, or if you have seen it, I'd be curious what your thoughts are. But yeah, if that is your type of movie, I would actually recommend going to see it. So yeah.
As a writer, I'm all for good storytelling. I miss good storytelling. But he also did hit key component to winning an Oscar, which is go ugly, right? They always say go ugly to win an Oscar. And I've seen the makeup work that they did on him, which is amazing. And,
it was fascinating. The way, even the set of his eyes, there's, a certain, I don't know how to describe it. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it, but even the set of his eyes, that was acting. It was really good. I was very impressed, very impressed. So good on him. Again, add it to the list. I would say worth seeing. So so that's it. That's all I got, guys. Clay, you want to close them out with anything? Any message you want to give them?
Yeah, folks, as always, we appreciate you tuning in, listening on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. Elsa and I are, we love that we've got huge fans in you guys, but we're huge fans of you guys, and we appreciate all the support, and we will be back next week. And until then, keep moving, keep shooting.
Take care, guys.
Combat veteran Terry Davis thought he left the fight behind. In Tampa, he uncovered a deadly conspiracy. Now, he's back home in Chicago, and war has followed him to his doorstep. Gangs armed like soldiers, a shadowy enemy rising from the past, and one man who refuses to stand down. From the quiet suburbs to the shores of Lake Michigan, Terry Davis will risk everything to protect the people he loves, because that is his cross to bear. Clay Novak's explosive new novel, Cross to Bear, Book 2 in the Terry Davis series.
She's the voice behind the viral comedy, bold commentary, and truth-packed interviews that cut through the chaos. Author, brand creator, proud conservative Christian, this is Elsa Kurt. Welcome to the show that always brings bold faith, real truth,